My name is Benjamin Weeks, and I'm a professor at Adelphi University in the biology department. Currently, my research is investigating how cannabidiol, that we know commonly as CBD, affects neuronal cells. The way I conduct my research is to add the cannabidiol, or CBD, to cultures of neuronal cells. So I grow neuronal cells in a dish, and then I add CBD, and I look at the molecular and cellular changes in neurons. In particular, when I add the cannabidiol or the CBD, what I observe is that these neuronal cells are beginning to differentiate. In other words, they're taking on function. They're extending neurites and making more connections. And so it's very interesting now to study what are the cell surface molecules, what's the chemistry going on in the cell, what are the changes in the genes that are expressed, such that a cell, a neuronal cell, treated with CBD would start to make neuritic connections, more neuritic connections. What makes that very valuable is CBD is then a phytochemical or a molecule which can induce neuroplasticity, which is important during learning. And then you do talk therapy with CBD and you rewire the brain. You now are a different person, your brain works differently. This is very different than what we do with people who have mood disorders and anxiety disorders now. What we do is we use drugs which change neurotransmitter levels, neurotransmitter receptor levels, and those levels respond to the drugs and go up and down. You get insensitive, you have to take more drug, you get addicted, and there's all sorts of problems with these kinds of drugs. So CBD presents an opportunity maybe to work with phytochemicals that are less harsh on the body and have fewer side effects than our current therapies. This research that I'm doing is not something I go off and do on my own. We have students at the undergraduate and graduate level participating in this research. So when I published this research, it's been published with student co-authors. Why were those students included? Because they were the ones in the lab actually adding the CBD, taking the pictures of the cells, making the measurements, doing that work. The students also help with the writing and the collection of the literature and thinking the problem through. While I did tell my students we're going to be adding CBD to neuronal cells, very often the student might suggest a particular experiment or a new idea or a way of doing things. And so that's an important part of contributing to the science as well. I find this research very exciting and very interesting, but it's also very important. It is important that we be able to address mental health, mood disorders, anxiety, and depression, and not have to do it always with a harsh drug or with pharmaceuticals. Finding ways of using neuroplasticity and combining that with talk therapy to really rewire the brain so that people are cured from suffering from these mood disorders is very important and will have a wide impact on the population.